Okay, I'm stoked since we have two very special Samsungs with us today, the A12 and the A52. Today we're going to do a camera comparison. Let's get into it. The A52 shoots 64 megapixel photos while the A12 shoots 48 megapixel. To make this comparison as useful as possible, I shot a lot of max resolution photos on these phones. In some photos such as this one, I had to tap to focus on the A12, whereas on the A52, it did all the focusing. And before you even take a photo, the A52's Super AMOLED screen makes the subject spectacularly crisp with great contrast and a beautiful background blur. A huge and noticeable difference after using an A12. In this challenging situation, the A52 manages to control the sky's exposure while giving the trees some color. But the A12 makes it a silhouette, which maybe some people might prefer. But in this photo, everything is more saturated on the A12 and it makes the A52's photo seem more exposed all around. Also, look at the canal. The A12 seems to make the A52's look like, well, tang. Yet here, we see the exact opposite. The A52 captures more contrast, making colors appear richer. The green image just jumps out at you. Here, the A12 captures incredible blacks, but overexposes the sky, though it does leave the A52 crying in the corner with laughable blacks, an incredibly overexposed sky, and less rich color, something those trees won't be too happy about. Here, the A52 has noticeably better background blur, but the A12 captures better blacks while still holding on to the information in those blacks, which might be important when it comes to editing to bring out that hidden information. Here, the A52's better dynamic range shows itself. You can still see the green in the trees, and this bendy branch right here on the left, it isn't even visible on the A12. And finally here, you can clearly see the A52 has better dynamic range. The A12 not only overexposes the sky and underexposes the house, but it also reduces the detail, color and information. Oh, and a sub to the channel would be absolutely electrifying. I'll be showing wide angle, 1x zoom and 2x zoom in that order. Here, both manage to capture details in the sky and control the exposure very well. But when you zoom in about 50 times on each, you can tell the A52 has more detail. Do the same with the corners, and it's clear the A52 dominates them. In this wide angle, both control the highlights. Here, colors look lush and rich on both. Look at the top left though, and you can see this weird fluorescent color the A52 has given to the sky. Since this doesn't match the sky in the rest of the image, I'd prefer the A12's photo. The general theme across these photos seems to be that the closer you get to 2x zoom, the richer the colors and the contrast on both. In this ultra-wide, notice how the A12 bends the red building. These photos were taken from exactly the same spot. My bicycle seems closer on the A52, but detail remains equal. Here, colors and exposure are almost equal, and it's clear the A52 captures more superior textures, like that of the road. But look at the triangular house roof. The A12 captures creamier whites, which I think is a matter of personal preference. At 2x zoom, the A52 sharpens things up, like the leaves on that tree in the background. In this wide angle, the A52 definitely has richer colors, though, like before, the A12 distorts the corners less. At 1x zoom, the A52's colors are more lush, and differences seem almost non-existent. And it seems like the A52 still holds better contrast, color and detail if you zoom in more. And at this 2x zoom, the A52 gets better color as well. Going wide, the A52's color wins by a mile, but again, that's something editing can always fix. Both control the sky, though the A12 is more grungy. At 1x zoom, the A12's sky beats the A52's, while the A52's grass is more colorful than that of the A12's. Although I'd side with the A12's color since it just looks a bit more realistic, and the A52's detail takes the prize any day of the week. But at 2x zoom, the A52 still manages to control the sky better than the A12. In this ultra-wide, the A52 gets a more grungy but well-controlled sky. But again, its colors seem less realistic compared to the A12's. The A52 also gives the sky a bluer tone. Here, the A12 controls the sky better than the A52, but the A52 has better highlights like the leaves, and zooming into that sign, you can still see the A12 somehow appears to have more detail. In this wide-angle shot, look at that glass building. The A12 bends the black roof while the A52 keeps distortion low. As expected, colors are richer on the A52, yet it still has a grayer sky. But in this one-time zoom shot, you can see the A12 gets richer colors, though the A52 captures a bluer sky. Whew! So that's it for today. Oh, and this video took a few weeks to make, so a sub to the channel would be absolutely energizing. My name is Daniel, this is Lindsay Neuberdosis, and I'll see you in the next one.